And I'm so excited to have you all here. As I was mentioning before we officially started, I'm a huge fan of Canva. And so this is one of the topics I will just never get tired of learning about and talking about. And I'm so excited to have Krista with us today from JB Media Group. Krista and I have been working together for quite a while now, and she has really been the backbone of almost everything we do when it comes to design for the JB Media Institute. So I just want to give you a big thank you for all the support you provide for us to just make us look great online. And just to go over kind of the basics of the webinar, if you've never been here before, first of all, we have the chat running. I'll be in the chat today. So feel free to let me know if there's any issues with the technology, or if you have things that you just want to add to the conversation and share with fellow attendees, you can drop it in the chat. We also have a Q&A feature. So it's really great if you have questions that you put them in the Q&A, because that makes it a little easier for us to kind of keep track of the questions as we go along. So you should see that in your Zoom toolbar, and you can just add the questions there. Of course, I'll be watching the chat. So if you can't access the Q&A and you just need to drop the questions in the chat, feel free to do that, and I'll be monitoring that throughout. Also, I just wanted to give everybody a little announcement that JB Media Institute, we have an online course called the Content Strategy Roadmap. And I recently went through and did a bunch of updates on that program. So as usual, if you're hearing topics in the webinar today that you're interested in, if you're interested in learning more about content strategy and content marketing, our online course is a really straightforward and easy program that you can do to create your content plan, your content marketing plan, and you get to meet with me twice a month and get expert support. So please feel free to reach out to me anytime with questions about that program. We're going to be launching another cohort in September. So I've dropped my email in the chat. So if you're interested in learning more with us, connecting with me, please feel free to email me. But I am going to turn it over to Krista and let her, like I said, give us some great information today about how to use Canva and some of the amazing tools that they've been adding, because they've been changing and adapting this platform. I feel like pretty much every month there's some cool new things that are in there. So again, put your questions in the Q&A. At the end of this, by Friday, we will send out the recording so that you'll be able to go back over this information, as well as the slides that Krista shares as well. But thank you so much for being here, and take it away, Krista.
All right. Thanks so much for having me, Sarah. I'm really excited to be here and talk to so many of you about this amazing DIY design tool. My name is Krista Gargano. I am the graphic designer here at JB Media Group. And I've been working with JB Media for, I'd say a little over 3 years now. And I would say I work day-to-day in design for digital marketing. So primarily social media ad campaigns, a little bit of programmatic advertising, some landing page design, and even some branded printed collateral projects for some of our clients from time to time. And this past year, actually, we've been getting some interest in brand refreshes and also creating brand style guides. My background is mostly in print design, publication, and branding. So it's really nice to be able to incorporate some of my old school design skills into the mix of strictly digital projects that I get to work on at JB Media. Let's see, I graduated in 2010 from Coastal Carolina University with a bachelor's in graphic design. And back then, digital marketing was kind of on the cusp of becoming very quickly prominent in design and for designers, but was nowhere near as prevalent as digital marketing is today. So being able to take that print and branding background and incorporate that into this digital realm we live in every day, on top of implementing some newer skills like simple animation and video editing, has been what I like to call a journey never ending. And if I'm to be brutally honest, Canva makes it just so much fun. It's similar to how I felt when I could play around in MS Paint, like when that first came out. It's just wonderful. But I definitely still consider myself an Adobe nerd. InDesign, Photoshop, and Illustrator are typically my go-to design applications. But I first learned about Canva about 5 years ago, which it has actually been around for a lot longer than that. I think Canva first launched in 2012, but at the time I was still very much using Adobe because that was the norm for professional designers. But I would say really it started taking off around 5 years ago, and I decided to try it out, in part to stay on top of trending technology and design, of course. And deep down as a creative, I know I needed to find a way to work with these emerging DIY marketing tools, because speaking truthfully, they aren't going to go, they're not going anywhere, right? So but yeah, also it's just as equally as important as staying on top of what's just as equally as important as that is just staying true to one of our biggest core values at JB Media, which is being able to set a client up for success. But how can a designer set a client up for success if they are not a designer? And so that's kind of exactly where Canva comes in. So for those that aren't already familiar with Canva, and it looks like a lot of you are, and a lot of you have the pro account, which is really cool. Canva is a do-it-yourself design tool for web and for mobile, with thousands of templates from which you can choose to customize for just about any online or offline marketing assets. From social media graphics, infographics, small print projects, even like flyers or posters. And recently, Canva has launched a lot of new AI features, making your graphics and ads really come more to life, and become more compelling with things like the video editor and animation tools. So I will be going over a little bit of those. And just to level set with everyone today, this is mainly going to be a 101 tutorial style webinar for folks who might be completely new to Canva, for those who are simply curious about the application, as well as for those who may already have a pro account. But for today, I'm going to focus on mainly how to create and customize social media graphics in Canva Pro, using their pre-made templates as a base. And then I'll also show you some ways to really help up-level your graphics using some of these new awesome AI features. And we're going to do this all together. And then at the end, we will have some time to dig into some deeper questions that you guys might have. And I'll try my best to answer those the best I can. Canva is constantly evolving. I feel like every week almost I'm learning something new. So I will try my best to stay on top of those who have some complex questions. But yeah, this isn't quite a presentation deck, but that's the beauty of this webinar, is that we're going to be building it together, and all you get to do is watch someone design, which I think is the most impactful way to learn, especially Canva. And if anyone here is even baseline familiar with design, words don't make much sense unless you see someone doing the words, right? Also, this webinar is being recorded, so if you ever need to refer back to any of this and any of the steps, you'll be able to reference back to those. But yeah, a little fun lunch and learn, and then maybe 10-15 minutes at the end for some questions. So let's start fresh, opening up Canva. So like I've mentioned, we're gonna just start with a template. And I am gonna mostly be going over pro features, but really it will also apply to those that don't have the pro feature yet. And hopefully this will inspire you to upgrade, because the features, like Sarah said earlier, really make a huge difference. So you log on to their homepage, and there's this templates here. So there's several ways to get to templates. You can start from creating a new design, but for the sake of just looking at all the templates, we're going to go here. And you can see here, they kind of filter it out by, different categories. But you can also search in this box for something particular. Like earlier, I was trying to think of a topic that could make a good tutorial. And one of my favorite nonprofits is Asheville Greenworks. And so I was looking up river cleanup. Say I want to make a social ad for that. So I would search for that. And you can see here, there are 233,870 templates. So sometimes when people say things like, oh, I don't like any of these templates, it's just, you just got to dig and just kind of make it your own. And that's what this is about, just kind of making it yours. So I like to just kind of skim through it and see which ones, I kind of like. I gravitate towards very clean, modern. So I'm sort of loving this one. When you click on this, there's a button to customize this template. And just kind of, this is a good rule of thumb, is just to immediately, when you do find a template you like, you'll want to rename this up top. And this just helps with organization in the long run if you're trying to refer back to a design and you don't know whether or not it is a template or a final design or whatnot. So I would, kind of name it the best I can. River cleanup. And what is also great about Canva is it auto saves, I think, every couple seconds. It's pretty incredible. So even if you lose internet, you're not going to lose your work, which is just fantastic. So right now, this isn't very branded, right? This is looking very generic. This icon in the middle does not say much about Asheville Greenworks. It looks more like something for travel adventure. And so we're going to brand this in a way that goes with Asheville Greenworks. So I'm going to just find their logo. Let's type logo, go to images. Now, let's see, let's grab this guy. Maybe this one. You can simply copy anything, logos, photos. You want to make sure, you don't use a photo that is copyrighted, but in this case, I'm making a graphic for Asheville Greenworks. So I've copied it directly from Google and I can simply paste it in. And when I paste it in, it actually also places it in your uploads, so you can always find it later. And I'm just I want that to be in the center, right? Instead of that icon. And I loved the modern look of it being white. And so this is where one of the really cool features, Canva Pro features, comes in, and it's called the background remover. Many times you'll have a logo where, you want to place it on a graphic, but the background's there and it just doesn't look really good on a white background. You want it to look a little more modern. So you just go up to the edit photo here. And under these tools, this little star icon, I believe that stands for all of their AI, all their amazing AI features. And this is one feature that I use just about every day, not 4 or 5 days a week. And with one simple click, it gets rid of the background, but it's not very legible, right? So maybe it's on a white circle background. You just go back to your elements, and in elements, within elements, there are, shapes, different graphics, and photos, videos. So let's pick this just white shape. Let's turn it white. You go up here to color, change the color very simply. And in Canva, they have these snap grids to make sure that you're really centering it. And with Command back, you can just put it towards the back, and there it is. You can kind of see it. It's way more legible. And now up here, it's time to travel adventure. Maybe it says river cleanup. That's what we're trying to promote here, right? And down here, maybe we put what date it is. So let's just say that is August August 5th, 2023. And now it's already looking pretty custom, right? Especially from what it was. This background is clearly not our region. This is an amazing other feature of Canva Pro is when you go to your elements and you look up photos, I can look up French Broad River. And it gives me photos. I mean, I don't know about if these graphics are really accurate, but the photos are. And if you're never sure, you can always go up to these three buttons to make sure that that is indeed the French Broad River, which it is. And you can just kind of browse, see which one you like. This one's nice and a little brighter, so let's make sure that's the French Broad. It is. So you simply can drag this into the background and it changes the background. You can also double click. You can adjust it so you can see more white sky, less white sky, however you like. And now it comes into some more further branding. So we like the logo, we like the background image. So now it's, if you're sticking to brand standards, it really just depends on, you know, how strict you are with brand standards. If you're just a startup that you just started, you don't really have, you know, solidified branding. You could simply find a font that you love, that you think looks good. But looking at Asheville, if I go to Asheville Greenworks website, this kind of font, finding maybe something similar to this branding. So, and this is probably a design term people don't all know, but this is called a slab font. So I can search their 3,000 fonts that Canva Pro offers, which is just magnificent, and maybe look up slab. So it shows me that kind of style font. Maybe not. I don't like the outline of that. And it's just as easy as just going through and finding one that you like. So you know what I liked? I like Nexa. And I'm going to do the same for the bottom. And there you have it. This is a navy blue background that has been, it's at 60% transparency. Maybe we want that to just be black, so it stands out more. Maybe not. Maybe we want it to be their green. What is so cool is you can take the exact green from their logo with this eyedropper tool. Click on it. Maybe I want a darker variation. It's a little too bright. So you can just simply mess with it here. And there you have it. You have a branded graphic that I did in, 5 minutes maybe. Now say I want to make another iteration, another version of this using a different color. Or maybe I want to have the logo be all white. And this is, I would say, my first or second favorite AI feature also. So we have just duplicated, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you how to duplicate. It's as easy as this duplicate page icon. You can just duplicate every single time instead of having to copy and paste everything over. So here we go. The logo is good. It's already cut out. I don't want that white background, and I want this logo to be all white, which is a big trend right now, especially in digital creative assets. You're seeing the logo kind of knocked out in all white. And it's always good to have a logo that way. So we'll go back up to the edit photo. And under effects here, there's this duo tone. And here it gives you some colorways, but we're going to custom that. And the highlights and the shadows, we're going to bump those all up to just white. And like magic, it changes it. Oh, I have to refresh. Sometimes takes a minute. There we go. That way I can make this a little bigger, make sure it's centered. But because everything is white, maybe I want to add some more elements. And this is where you can kind of add to the templates instead of just changing the templates. So we can go into your elements here. And again, I believe there are, gosh, thousands and thousands of free photos, shapes, graphics you can choose from. So we're talking about the rivers. So maybe if I just type in river, and I was looking for maybe a graphic to go maybe down here. And you can tell which elements are pro elements and which are completely free. You just have to look for this little crown icon, and that will let you know. But since we are using pro, let's find something kind of nice. Let's see. This is nice. It's simple. I can, adjust it to any size I want. And I can also change the color of this. Just go back up to your color. Maybe find a blue I like. And then up here, maybe I want some clouds. Those clouds are very solid and aggressive to me. So another thing you can do is mess with the opacity. Clouds are kind of transparent, right? So you can maybe dim that down a little bit. Maybe I want one more cloud. So I just copy, I paste. And there you go. Maybe I want this green to be a little darker. Just go back to my colors. And you're having some more custom graphics. That way now you have two options. And as a designer, I know we're not all designers, but I know in my day-to-day, when it comes to creating social graphics, it's always good to show options, right? So I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to do one more option. Maybe, and this is another really incredible AI tool. It's the Animate tool, which I just actually recently learned. I didn't know just how cool this tool was. Maybe I want this Asheville Greenworks to fly in from the top right or the top left. You can edit your photo. It's the Animate tool. Oh, sorry guys, Animate tool is here. Guess they moved it. You can animate any element on this artboard. So they have all these custom basic. I can have that pop, I can have it wipe, I can have it breathe larger, I can have it breathe inward. Lots of options that are here. These are new. You can rotate. I have not used these add motion effects yet, but they're pretty cool. But a custom animation, say you want this to fly in from up here somewhere. When holding shift, did that wrong. Go back to my animate. While holding shift, and you can just drag this. This might be a really bad example, but it'll get the point across. Mess with how smooth it is, the speed of it, how it goes. Sorry, guys, that wasn't a great example, but the fact that you are able to just really manually animate anything you want is pretty incredible for an online tool like this. But
Can I jump in and throw out a couple small questions that are coming up? And we've got a few for the end as well.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Someone was asking, what does the unlock button next to the duplicate button mean? Do you want to explain like locking elements?
Yes, absolutely. So if you want to lock elements, say you're handing this, and I haven't gotten to this point yet, but say you're collaborating on designs with a team, and there are elements you just don't want to get moved around. When someone say they want to edit this to say something else, and things happen where things get moved around, you can select certain elements or the entire artboard, and you can lock these elements. And so what that does is it'll lock them so that they don't get moved around.
And then the other
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw out to everyone that that's super useful. Again, more when you're working with teams, or like if you're a designer working with a client and you want them to be able to look at stuff and maybe make some changes, but you don't want them to be able to make like major changes to the whole design. And then the other question we had is, could you just show them again when you click on the color, how you get to that little dropper where you can put in, you can choose a color or you can put in the color code, just so they can see that one more time?
Yes, absolutely. So let's duplicate this guy. So you click on what you're trying to change, go to edit photo, and it's under effects. It's called the duotone, and you're going to custom that. So here's the original. They give you some colorways, but I rarely ever do that because I'm always gravitating towards white, all white.
On the box, and then it gives you the color palette, and then because I think that's actually more of the question of how do you get to those individual colors, not just the duotones.
Yes. Sorry about that. So when you click on something to change it into a color that's, say, part of the logo, text color up here. Now I can't find it. This logo, the photo colors, this is something in Canva that's also nice, is it will recognize all the photos, colors that are in the background in the logo, and you can change it to be exactly that color. I wonder what I did last time. I already forgot how I did this. Let's see, let me try this again. Now I remember. It was a black background, but if I wanted it to be green, I would just click on add a new color. And when you add a new color, there's this eyedropper tool, and you click on this, and really anywhere, even on my desktop, like it just recognizes any color you want. And you can just click on it and it changes it to be that exact color. So yeah, it's up here. It's up here in this custom add new color.
If you already have your color codes, you just drop the color code in there.
Yeah.
So like if you already know what your color palette is and you have your hex codes, then I just add in the hex codes. So like a lot of times I'm working with a graphic designer to create social media content. The graphic designer sends me the style guide. The style guide has all the codes in it. And then I just drop in the color codes and utilize them as needed.
Yes, exactly. I was going to get to this point actually now. I can get to the magic resize in a minute, or, you know, let's do this now. Say this square image, I need to adapt this to a stories dimension. Now, if I go up to here, again, this is a pro feature only. I click on resize. I can search here for what I'm looking for. So say I want it to be an Instagram story. It has them all ready for you. I want to copy it and resize it, and it opens up a whole new tab. So, you know, you can toggle back and forth. And then here, you know, it does take some manual adjusting, but you know, in 10 seconds, you can have the same design just adapted for every different format, which is very nice. I do want to go over the brand kit, what Sarah was just talking about. If we go back to home, and now say you have a client or you yourself have your hex codes, you have your color codes, you have your brand fonts, your logos, everything's finalized. They have something called this brand hub. And as you can see here, I'm using JV Media's account. So all of our clients are kind of here. I've already set up all of these different brand kits. So, but you want to create a new brand kit. You're just going to add a new one. You'll name it. Greenworks is not our client, but I wish they were. Right here, you would, you know, upload the logo, colors here. you have the exact color code. Say I have the exact color code. I don't, but let's just kind of make it similar. I think brown is in their color palette. And I believe there's red as well. And that's close enough. So that's their color palette. Also, what's very cool with the Canva Pro accounts, you can upload your custom brand fonts. Again, I'm not too sure what they're using or if I even have it, but they even break it down to if your title and your subtitle, say, is a different font from your subheading or your body or your quote. They give you all these options to upload different styles of fonts. So let's say our title is, we can choose a font here. I think it was Nexus Lab. I also want our subtitle to be Nexus Lab, and our body maybe can be Rubobo. They also, and I think this is a newer feature, I have not seen it before, you're able to add or drag into this box any branded photography that's specific to Greenworks, right? Same with graphics, any icons, any custom iconography can go here. And so when you're done here, I think it automatically saves, and we can go back. Let's refresh this. Let's create a new. Let's duplicate this. Maybe this is white. And so now when I click on this text, I want it to be green and brown. I go up to my color, text color here, and your brand kit lies right underneath the document colors. And when you click on this brand kit, this drop down button here, it will pop, all of your different brand kits will pop up here. So you'll just simply go down to find the one you just did, and here it is. If I were to have added a logo, it would pop up here. It's easier to look, but you can see this is Greenworks. And here's your color palette. And I imagine if I were to upload my photos, any other assets, they would all show up as well. So now we can turn these green. Can't really see that, so let's bolden it. Yeah. Lots of really cool features. Let's show you how to do another animation. I'm going to just delete all these for the sake of just showing you one animation. When you upload an animation, let's see. Rise is a nice one. It gives you the option on enter. It's usually on enter for me. I think it seems a little weird to do both, but you can choose from on exit, on enter, both. You can mess with the speed, how slow it's rising, how fast you want it to rise, if you want it the direction to go down instead. And you'll do the same for here. You just go to your animate, you click on rise, and maybe this one goes down. On enter, speed. And maybe I want the logo to pop. Again, animate, let's see, there's a pop option here. On enter. And up here, if you wanted to preview what this would look like, you can just preview it, press play, and it's simple. It's that simple. One thing.
A few questions I want to make sure we jump in on towards the end here.
Sure. And one thing with animation, when you download it, you can't download separate animations in one artboard. You would have to actually make another copy. So you would make a copy of this if you wanted to have different options. That's only if you want it to be animated. I've noticed in Canva, I guess maybe they're not there yet, but it will, if you have different options and they're all animated, it will show all of those in one video. So, yep, that's about it.
So yes, I've just been organizing the questions. I think the first one I wanted to answer is Tracy was basically asking about like if she's a custom illustrator, so she's done a number of illustrations, and she would just like you to show her how could she add those to Canva so that her custom illustrations and things are available. And that way she could either take a blank canvas and build her own template, or potentially take existing templates and adapt them to include the different elements that she's creating. Could you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, totally. So again, in your brand kit, there was the options to upload photos and graphics. Like she makes custom illustrations. So you would just upload those custom illustrations. You find them in your drive, in your folders, and you upload them. And that way, when it comes time to design something, it's as simple as dragging and dropping it in there through your, let's see. Brand hub, that is the word. That's the word I was looking for. So your brand hub is where everything is located. So you've got your colors, your logos, your fonts, your photos, graphics. So her custom illustration would be here as a little thumbnail, and you would just drag it into here.
I'll also just add that there's an upload section on the left-hand side. And just because I use Canva, the truth is a lot of times the brand hub is pretty new. So I've actually never used the brand hub. I just upload everything there.
Right.
So a lot of my clients, I make them set up their own Canva accounts, and then I upload all their different stuff there. And if I put it in the upload section, every time I access that client's account, all of their different information is inside of there. Like every photo I've put up, every graphic, every icon, everything. So they've created the brand hub so it's a little more organized, Tracy, but you can also just literally upload anything that you've created on your own into this system.
Yeah, and also me too, Sarah. I didn't really know the brand hub existed until maybe a few weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes total sense. Because, you know, you want more than just colors and fonts. Maybe you want your photos to be organized or any other assets to be organized. So, and again, that's the same kind of story with you want to make sure you name things immediately when you're using a template, because it'll be easier to find. So when you have all of your assets in one place in your brand hub, you're not, if you were to just upload it to this basic upload button here, it just has a bunch of everything, and it would be really hard to find exactly what you're looking for. So the brand hub kind of organizes things nicely for you.
So a couple of the other questions we have are around, could you show them the share section? So people are asking questions about like, how do I transfer what I've created to MailChimp or Facebook or Instagram? I was already answering in the chat, just in case anybody missed it, that basically if you have the pro account, you can download anything that you create into any file format that you want, whether it's like a PDF, a JPEG, a PNG, like any type of design file that you need, the pro account gives you the access to create those, and they're all under the share button in the upper right.
Yes, that's right. So to share, and there's lots of options beyond just downloading it and then sharing it manually. Here's the download option. The file types, they've got, you know, a lot of the industry standard, even PDF if you want to send it to print. But beyond just downloading it, you have the capability to share it directly to your socials. And you can even schedule it. Again, this is a pro feature because you can see the little crown up here. And this is so nice. If you want to schedule this out for a week in advance, you can do so. Even the exact time you want to send it. So that's a great feature. Let's see here. Embed it if you have something that you want to embed onto a website. And then if you just want to simply share it as like an approval for a client, or just share it with your partner. Like, what do you think of this design? With Canva for Teams, I believe you can add up to 5 people. You can share it with your entire team, or you can choose this, which is anybody with this link. It's kind of similar to Google Drive, right? When you share someone a file in Google Drive. So anyone with this link can either edit it, they can comment on it, or they can just view it in case you're worried, you don't want them to mess up the design. Another cool thing is you can turn this design into a template. And how you would do that is not a brand template. You can create a template link. And when you create a template link and you copy this template link and you share this with somebody, this automatically, it makes an automatic copy of this. It will actually say copy of AVL Greenworks River Cleanup. That way, they're not moving any elements around. Yeah, lots to do up here with this share button.
Print design, I feel, is from Lisa. So do you know how you can display the safe zones when you're designing a template? Like when you're doing something for print, and because I believe the safe zones have to do with like the bleed and all that, correct? I'm not a print designer, but I feel like that's what it's referring to.
So print, that's a sticky subject, because Canva right now, I don't really recommend doing too many like bigger print projects. But for things, say we wanted to adapt this to a PDF size, I'm just going to show you really quickly. Let's do letterhead. So we're adapting this to an 8.5 by 11 because we want to get this printed. When you go up to the share button and you say print your design, oh, that's not it, I'm sorry. You'll want to download it. And under your file type, there is a PDF standard and a PDF print, which is best for printing. And then under there are crop marks. There are crop marks and bleed options. You can flatten the image, which usually printers prefer. I feel like that is, again, a new feature. And then under the color profile, this is really important. RGB is best for digital. It's for online. When you get something sent to print, it will convert to CMYK, which is best for professional printing. And look at that. That is only a pro feature. So then you would download it, and it would include crop marks and everything for the printer. Let's see what that looks like. Takes a minute. And I will say the animations, when you download those as MP4s, those do take a minute versus, a simple graphic that is only a JPEG, a static graphic.
Thanks, Alina, for making the comment about how Canva now contracts with Staples. So if you have a local Staples, you can actually do some of your printing there. We have a few other questions, and we're really at the top of the hour, so I'm sorry that we're probably not going to be able to take too many more. But Mia had a question about, can you go back over grouping the image so it doesn't move? And I think you mean locking the image, Mia, if you want to clarify that, but so that different elements can't be moved. Also, when we resize the image to an Instagram story, it resized all the images. What if you were just working on sending options and wanting to show one of the images as a story and others in a different format? So just to clarify your questions, Mia, first, when you resize, the reason that it resized everything that she had in one area is because, technically speaking, like, I'll make a Facebook post and then I'll resize it and it'll open a whole other tab so that I'm resizing into something else. So it's about kind of, how she had a bunch of different designs all in one thing because she was duplicating them. If you're duplicating the design and then you resize everything, it resizes everything you've duplicated. Whereas if I just make one design, one Facebook post, and I don't duplicate into that whole area, I'll have one Facebook post. When I resize, it opens another tab and turns it into a story. If that makes sense. I think I'm understanding the question, but
yes. And you know what, there is a difference between grouping and blocking. So,
okay.
So grouping, I think what she's asking is, say I want this whole thing, like I don't want these to be different pieces, right? Because say I need to move this whole thing. What if I make it smaller and I wanted to do something like this and have a big headline here? So you would just select all of these elements. And right here, there's a button called group. And that way you can just move the entire thing. And then if you also want to lock it, again, you just lock it this way.
Awesome. And then one final question I wanted us to wrap up on, because I feel like this is a good one from Alexis. And I'm interested to hear what you think about this, Krista, because I know I have my own opinions. But how do you choose to use Canva versus Photoshop or Illustrator or Procreate? Is Canva taking the place of these other tools, or is it meant to be used in conjunction with them?
I would say that is a great question. For, like I was saying earlier, with printed projects and large scale projects, I think Canva is not there yet. That requires some more sophisticated technology. Also, I think that this Canva specifically right now is good for digital, anything digital that doesn't need to be sent to print. But the efficiency of Canva is you can do everything, like getting rid of a background and then, finding a photo. If you don't have a photo library, you can do this all in Canva. But if you were to create a billboard, for example, you can't just use the background eraser in Canva because it's going to be blown up so largely. So that it just really depends on the projects. But I have no doubt that Canva will only evolve to where you are able to create very large scale projects and complex projects like magazines or annual reports. Yeah.
All right, and just one last question from Jody. I see you added this. Yes, this was recorded. You will get a copy of this recording. Krista has also put together a short slide deck just with great resources and things she wants to share with everyone. And so you'll get a copy of that as well. We usually have that sent out by Friday to everyone who registered. Also, I dropped in the chat the link to Canva's tutorials. They also have a design school. And so I will say, as somebody who's been working, in a design adjacent way for many years, which means I work with a lot of graphic designers. I'm actually too lazy to design a lot of things on my own. And so I want them to do the bulk of the work. And then I want to take all that great work and turn it into marketing collateral. I really feel like Canva is a tool that's going to continue to evolve. It's going to be super useful from a marketing perspective. I'm not so sure I think it will ever usurp Adobe and the products that they make, because when it comes to really in-depth design tools, for people who are truly graphic design artists, like Krista, I feel is, for people that want to create original things, I think Adobe is still their tools, Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop are all going to still be very valuable. I think for photographers, it's still very valuable. But I think when it comes to marketing and communications, getting organized, making things really easy to share, being able to take elements and brands and turn them into a wide variety of things, Canva becomes an incredibly powerful companion tool. And I know as a social media manager, it's just a tool that we really advocate for, because not only is it great to do it on your computer, but they are amazing on your phone and your tablet. So I can make a lot of things on the fly, animate them, make them really cool, and post in the moment as a social media person, which I feel Adobe is trying to match Canva at this point. I feel like that's where Adobe is not quite where they need to be, in my opinion, for those of us that are trying to design literally in minutes,
Yeah,
and do something that looks amazing.
Everything's in one platform. Whereas, back in the day, if I had to cut somebody out, I'd have to cut that out in Photoshop, then I'd have to save it. I'd have to bring it into another program. So it's just, everything's all in one place.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking just at some final questions, and I know we're right at the top of the hour. So if you need to leave, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. We love having everybody join us each month. Sarah, we provide a monthly webinar the first Wednesday of every month, typically, although I will say in September, it will be the first Thursday because our guest speaker was only available that Thursday. We'll send out an announcement about that when we send you the recording. We don't typically do webinars on Adobe, and that's because I'm actually in charge of these webinars and I run them. And for most of our audience, Adobe is just a way to involved conversation to have in less than an hour. And so if you want some resources on how to learn more Adobe products, please feel free to email me directly. I'm going to put my email in the chat again. But I feel like, Adobe products to me is just really hard to give you much information that's useful super fast. It's just a higher level kind of tool. But overall, I just want to say thank you everyone to being here. It was amazing to see so many people across the country. My email is in the chat. You can always reach out to me if you need resources or support of any kind. I'm glad to provide anything I can. So always reach out to me. If you have questions for Krista as well, I want to just invite you to email me directly, and I'm glad to pass those things along and connect her with you so that you can have your questions answered as well if there's something that I can't answer. But we really appreciate everyone being here. And again, Krista, I'm so grateful that you took the time today to do this. Per usual, I even learned something. I didn't realize the animations had gotten so in depth. So that was really exciting for me to see that custom animation piece and how we can play around with that. But again, thanks everyone for being here. We'll be in touch on Friday with a follow-up email, but have a great rest of your week. And I hope to see you again in the future at another JB Media Digital Drop-In.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.